Our intros are completely fine.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
I'm gonna be an awful human being. Let's go to the suicide ones. Like,
We're just gonna cut that again. We're rolling.
Okay. You said you were gonna roll it in.
Oh, I said I was.
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll it in.
not
Okay,
what
guys,
I-
we're rolling.
We're rolling. there's my segue.
That's my intro.
Welcome to the Life Podcast, everyone. I'm here with Tyler,
Yo,
Benji,
Hello.
and my name is Eric. And this morning we're here. It is Monday.
As opposed to all the mornings we're not here.
Well, this one is different, because we had the Friday off.
Yep.
So we're actually recording the Friday episode on a Monday.
Yep.
So this is going to be an interesting week for all of us.
Uh-huh.
A little bit more intense for me. I know you guys are used to like a 4 or 5 day wake up at 5 a.m. thing, but I'm
Yeah,
not.
bro. We maxed out 24/7.
It's just always on the clock.
Yeah, always on the clock. Clock don't stop.
Neither do I. Well, that works.
Yes.
I've never had to do that intense schedule.
If you don't get paid to sleep, Eric, you're in the wrong field.
I've been saying that for a while.
that's right.
So we here. We out here.
We out here, boys.
As Tyler likes to say.
we out here, boys.
Yeah. Well, good morning. How was y'all weekend? I mean, I saw half of you, y'all for half of it, but I didn't see you for in the entirety of it.
You went to a baseball game, right, Eric?
I did. We lost. Go Red Sox.
Eric played.
I played. I was out. When you get first row, you really feel like you're a part
Wow,
of it.
you were first row, Eric?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where?
It was in the outfield. First row. It was first row center field. It was actually like you feel like you're really in it. Only because like when the ball actually gets played out to you, like I got to see Mookie Betts actually catch like right in front of me, and I felt like I could have touched it.
Yeah.
I would have got thrown out, but but it was really cool. You get really into it when it's that close. So no, the game was cool. We lost, and it is what it is.
These things happen.
Bruins lost too.
Somebody has to lose.
Yeah, Bruins did
That's
lose.
how I understand sports.
Somebody has to lose.
Yeah. I think one of the things, like, we talk about this all the time. Like, growing up, I played all kinds of sports. I played hockey for, like, 8 years. I played baseball for probably just as long. Played football, played lacrosse, played all these sports. And then as I matured and got older, I wanted nothing to do with sports. And I shifted more towards, like, I guess, like, my teenage sports, like skateboarding, motocross, fishing, hunting. Like, that's... If I have to watch something, that's what I want to watch. I want to watch racing. That's such an
You don't watch fishing, do you?
Oh, why not? You ever watch Charlie Moore?
No.
Okay. Anyways, so besides that point, though, I think part of the reason why I don't enjoy sports as much as being older is like some people live and die for like the excitement and disappointment. Like I feel like you put yourself through a bunch of unnecessary amounts of like disappointment. You get so emotionally invested in like a team or a season or something, and then like something like the Bruins losing on game 7.
Yeah,
like I'm
something
glad I don't
completely
have
out of
TV,
control.
so I couldn't watch it. Like so I didn't have to get that extra level of disappointment.
Yeah. It is like you end up getting invested in something you have no control over.
I think it's like the male version of like a soap opera.
Yeah.
Pretty much like the people live on the drama.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I like how Tyler specifies male version of a soap opera as if men don't watch soap operas.
They do.
Yeah.
My dad does.
I know a lot
All
of
the
men who watch soap operas, Tyler.
Okay, I'll take gender pronouns out of this conversation.
Yeah, come on, Tyler. It's 2019.
That is Z's version of a pronoun. I mean, of a soap opera.
Nonetheless, sports are an interesting thing because
they score all the goals.
Because they score all the goals, absolutely. I'm not going to pretend like I know anything about sports. But the concept is very interesting that you can get... let me psychoanalyze sports.
The concept of you take a thing, you take the object, and it goes in the net with the other thing on the other side, and they go goal, and that's the concept. That's funny.
Absolutely,
that is so funny, dude.
Yeah. No, but you take you take a group of people who otherwise would never interact with each other, and you gear them towards a common goal with no real reason other than location.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
You know, because like we all root for the Celtics or the Bruins or the Red Sox or whatever,
All the sports teams.
or the Patriots. The most common one. Because of geolocation. Like other than that, that's really the only reason why. Like I mean, I guess there are people who root for them outside of our area, but the majority is here. And I think that's a cool concept where we're like, that's still like engraved in us, like that like old concept of like territory and like community based off of area.
Yeah. Well, that's something that's degraded within our society, especially over the past, I would say, 40 years or so. I mean, once like Vietnam rolled around, like we had this like revival in America of like this identity of really being American. Like think of the history of America itself. Like they didn't really have anything to like America didn't have anything to like be super duper proud of or like be glued together until World War II, and then like everybody fought together for one common cause, lived, bled, and died together. And then, like, coming back from World War II in such a great victory, it was like, wow, like, you know, we have this sense of unity as a country because we all fought and died for something. And then it's like, oh, like, cool, like, America, bro, what's up?
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, the degradation of America over time, like, once the 60s rolled around and once Vietnam happened and just things like that, it's like, okay, well, now there's no sense of geographic pride or just this common unity or goal. It's like, oh no, like I only belong to this people group or I only belong to this certain segregation. I want to stay away from that stuff though.
Well, but I think it is interesting because we couldn't move around as easily and we couldn't interact with other people as easily. So it was kind of like a product of being stuck in a location. You know, like you think of like back when the gold rush happened, it took months to get across the United States.
Yeah.
You know, like if you were moving from one place to another, it took a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of like you made a move decision once or twice in your life, and then that was it. Like you could only live in a couple spots in your life.
Yeah.
It was really only until the 50s when President Eisenhower built our like highway system as we know it that people could move really freely through the United States and intermingle.
Exactly. So it's like that's like I think this is a really interesting way to look at sports, but it still has that old concept inside of it. Yeah. Yeah. So there's your psychoanalysis on sports.
No, but it's that is true too. And that's a really cool concept. And just to think about it, like, yeah, I mean, really, we have nothing else in common other than we're all kind of from the same area, so we're gonna all root for the same team. And it's the same thing. I mean, it really should be the same thing for America. I mean, I'm super patriotic and I love our country, and that should be a big thing too. Like, wow, you know, I'm actually, as much as it's flawed here, I'm still proud to be here and work together for the greater good.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big reason why I love like the Olympics or the World Cup for soccer. I'm a big fan of those because it just like it unites countries in ways that, like, when you're looking at smaller sports teams, like you're dividing yourself as a country. You know what I mean? Like you get the East versus the West most of the time at the end. But when you go to like, it's just really patriotic when you see like USA in the World Cup or not last year, but they didn't make it. But anyways, but yeah, I think it's really cool to see, like, you see nations really come together. You see like giant festivals of just really, it's kind of amazing to see. But yeah, that's our sports section. And on to the news, Mike.
Yeah.
All right, so that's an inside joke here at the at the studio now. Benjamin is now Mike.
Inside joke. Yeah, fair enough.
Well, we got to cue everybody in so they can laugh too.
Yeah, well, or we could just not go with the random one-liner that happened like that one time.
Sorry, that was the first name that came to mind.
Fair enough.
Listen, that was quick. That was good.
Just off the cuff.
So what are we hopping into today, guys?
We can talk about this list that Tyler put in the thing. So we have this 26. Why 26?
I have no idea. I didn't make the list.
Like 13 is not a. Okay, whatever. It's not important. Okay, so we have this 26 bullet point list of how to stop negativity. Like, they couldn't go for 30. But they decided 25 is too little. I don't know. Whatever.
They
It's not
aimed for
relevant.
20, so they were at success at 26.
I guess so. It is what it is.
We'll go through it, and I mean, some of these I think were kind of a stretch. But,
Yeah,
let's grab whatever's.
Do you know what
whatever's
this
good.
is like, Eric? This is like that toolkit that we bought at Home Depot. That was like one of the items was like a 0.5 mil Allen wrench.
The other item was the case.
Yeah, right. They were like 60 items.
One is the case.
yeah.
That's what this list is.
The worst part is the case can't be used for like anything else. It's like just item specific.
Yeah, fair.
That's marketing.
I mean,
101.
yeah, it's market because it's like they could have said 55, but
Yeah,
they were
easily.
like, nah, we can do 60. It's
Well,
fine.
Yeah, the shopping bag. That's 61.
That's 61. They also made like 3 of the same drill bit, so it's
Yeah.
like basically the same.
Yeah, they really multiplied on that.
Yeah. So point 1. I don't think these are steps. I think they're just bullet points.
Okay.
Don't gossip. We talked about gossiping. We discussed how that's bad.
Yeah. I think that was important. It's like
That's it. That's it. Gossiping's bad.
I had a conversation the other day, and somebody asked me. It was like, "Oh, is talking like crap about somebody or just talking about somebody? Is that the same thing? As far as like, is that both fall into gossiping?" And I think it does.
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And then they were like, "But I'm not talking bad." I'm like, "Yeah, but they're not here." And they were like, "Oh, well, I would tell it to their face," and that's one thing, absolutely. Say something that you would say to the person, anyways. But yeah, I do think that anytime you're talking about anybody else, that if they're not around, it is considered gossip.
I think it's and there's a certain line too when it comes to gossip, because if you're gonna talk about somebody, talk good about them.
Yeah,
That's one thing. If you need to say something about somebody behind their back, you make sure that you build them up and you don't tear them down. I mean, you can talk about like, it's the truth. But if people don't need to know it, don't put it out there, and that's not your business to share. Talking about gossip itself too, it can be so contagious, and that's one thing that I've been proactively trying to weed out of my conversation, my day-to-day life, because we can destroy people and with our words. That "and" was not necessary in that in that sentence, but we can. I mean, that's the most common form of murder is gossiping about somebody or destroying the character behind their back. You can't come back from a destroyed character. There are people like people who you can make up this bold-faced lie. Like I had a neighbor. All right, we'll talk about this.
You didn't have a neighbor? Is that the lie?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I would tell everybody I had a neighbor. I really didn't have any neighbors. No, I had this neighbor growing up who the house across the street from me, it was always like a revolving door, and it was always this this problem house. I lived in this nice neighborhood from like 13 until like last year.
Yeah, fair enough. Everyone has their own crack house. Go ahead.
Like, I mean, seriously, I lived in the middle of like kind of like bougie nowhere.
Yeah.
And this house, like when I moved in for probably like the first like 7 or 8 years, it was this family, and like the cops would get called there all the time, and it was like two like problem. Like they had 2 daughters, they were older than me, and it was just like this problematic house. It's like I don't know what it is, but something just like follows this house. So they finally move out of the neighborhood. Somebody else moves in there, and this family they moved in, and I guess from my understanding, they had adopted a bunch of children, or they adopted some children because their friends like died or something, and they like adopted their kids, and one of the kids' relatives was still alive, and I guess they were like brainwashing the kids to like turn on them because like that other parent, or not parent, but like that other family member was bitter that they adopted them, and they're like, I need to take care of these kids, like I want to. So they were I know it was really foolish.
Yeah.
So I guess they were trying to turn they were 2 girls. They were trying to turn these girls against the parents, and I guess they got into one of the girls' heads to basically take like set up a thing where like it was like the dad figure of that house, like I guess like molested them or something, like you know that the hashtag Me Too stuff. Yeah, like this is legit. I'm telling this true story. And the guy ended up getting arrested and everything because they're gonna take the girl's word. Like I think she like tried to like manufacture like a selfie or something. Like I don't know how all of the specifics, but it was definitely manufactured. And this dude could not handle the amount of talk that was happening about him, and within a week he ended up killing himself.
That's great.
Because you don't come, like, even if he did it or not, like your entire life and public reputation. Like if you don't have a stomach to handle that, you're smoked. You're wrecked.
Even your experience, like going to jail, when you end up in prison for that,
you're gonna get smoked in jail too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's you get treated differently if you go to jail for that.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
yeah,
that goes downhill quickly. So that is wow.
It's crazy. It's like you think like one person destroyed the life of another person. Like how many times have we that's an extreme example that really shows this happen. But how many times have people gotten fired because of something that somebody else has said?
Yeah.
Like saying to if you really break it down, you took away somebody's livelihood because you had a problem with them or they did something that you didn't necessarily approve of. Now, there's, of course, reasons to fire people, but going behind and gossiping behind somebody just because you don't like their characteristics or you don't like the way that they do things.
Or they took the last cup of coffee. Tyler.
Exactly. Yeah. Scream at Tyler. But you take away somebody's livelihood, you take away the opportunity that they have to support their family just because you dislike them. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And just that talking behind somebody's back, you can gain everybody. Say there was one person here, we could infect each other right now, and then that's it.
Yeah,
the whole workplace, whether it was true or not, could be basically disown and reject that person. Because
absolutely, people when they only hear one side of the story, they take whatever side they heard.
Ooh, there's a proverb that says basically the one who goes and pleads his case is right until the other person involved comes and examines them.
Yeah.
And says their side of the story. It's oh wow, you just told me this. Wow, you are so right. That person is so evil, and the other the evil person comes by. It's
you're oh yeah, that's not bad.
What just happened here?
Yeah, every coin has two sides type of thing.
Exactly. And you have to understand both sides of it. If you're in the middle of the gossip, don't be. But if you happen to be in the middle of a story that you don't want to be there, don't take somebody's side because you haven't heard both sides. If you could avoid sides, the better.
It's also important that before you finish with gossip, that it turns into a game of telephone where everybody tries to one up each other.
Yeah.
Where it's the story that you just heard is Jeff took the last cup of coffee at the coffee maker, and then it turns into at the end of the day, it becomes Jeff threw the pot of coffee at me, and it's oh okay, those are two very different stories.
I was gonna take that to a different extreme, but I'm glad you kept going.
But still, it's it's very important that we realize that this is not a healthy situation to be in, and to not gossip as a whole. So there you go.
And we're going to keep going down this list on the
26 points.
26 point list. Hopefully we make it to the end, but we'll be back after the break. Stay tuned.
I love this. The internet is the most wonderful place in the world because it allows people with zero ability to create whatever they want. And this is one of those examples.
There's no accountability.
Absolutely. And some of this stuff is so vague, too. I mean, there was stuff to grab off this list. Obviously, we ran 15 minutes just talking about gossip.
Yeah. One of them is step 11 is step 10 is make the effort, and then step 11 is do this regularly. So not only did they do 26 points, but they had 2 points that could have been 1.
And 26, do things that have a purpose. That's all in make an effort, do this regularly. Do it with a purpose.
This list is awesome.
Right.
Stop mind reading. That's a good one.
All right, we're jumping around all over the place.
Yeah, we're on 14.
Yeah, I'm not even looking at the list.
So
let's
it's probably better that you're not looking at this list.
Yeah, probably. Well, let's talk about the what was that last one you said, Benji?
Stop mind reading.
Stop mind reading.
That's a big one. Where it's all
it's too early for witchcraft,
guys.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's oh, I wonder why Tyler did that thing. I bet it's because this, and that. Or, oh, I think that Tyler would be fine with me doing this thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what they say.
Yeah, you know what they say. What do they say? We don't know what they say. Yeah.
I learned English a long time ago.
Sounded out.
But no, that's big. Social media has made mind reading a more regular thing. I mean, I don't know why they call it mind reading. They should be assuming.
Assumption. Because it sounds cooler than stop making assumptions.
Yeah.
Reading between the lines.
Yeah. So that one's big because you start to compare yourself, or you start to assume that this person did something for a completely different reason, other than they did it because it was the best. It was the best solution for them.
Or you can even take it for the podcast. Like our intro clips. If you just listen to the first 5 minutes of like a show, you could make a really bad judgment about like whatever happened here.
Our intros are completely fine.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
I'm gonna be an awful human being. Let's go to the suicide woods. Like
We're just gonna cut that again. And
Yeah.
use that one again.
somebody's gonna be like, didn't I hear this before? They're talking about the same thing again.
no, but in context it made sense. But when you take
Yes.
something out of context and you start to infer, it's like, wow, these are horrible people.
Well, that's kind of the point, Tyler. That's what clickbaiting is. That's like That's like
You're not supposed to admit clickbait.
yeah. That's that's like the whole point is you gotta hook them. Like ever since the beginning of literature, that was the whole point. Like, isn't that what don't you remember grade school, Tyler? Like when you were writing those 5x5s.
Yes, 5x5.
The 5x5s, and the teacher was like, you got to give a hook. You got to give the interesting thing first so that the reader's intrigued. I'm not going to read your essay. Like, what?
Hey, listen.
there's
So I had this teacher in honors history, which I was stupid enough and naive enough when I first started high school to go into honors classes.
Honors classes are easier than normal classes.
I guess so.
They are.
Anyways, so I had to.
We'll talk about that after.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I had to write on a weekly basis like a 7-page paper on like the most stupidest stuff. And I had a great teacher. He was a great teacher, but this guy would make you do it. And I would basically take Wikipedia articles, go into Word document, auto summarize to 7 pages, double space, get the format right. I mean, it didn't even have to make sense because I knew this guy. Like, I forgot what I did. I like screwed up, and he just like missed like a bunch of screw ups on something. I was like, this guy ain't reading any of these people's like.
Yeah.
Sure enough, dude, I just started auto summarizing articles. I'd get like C pluses like every week.
Nice.
It's like, dude, I did not write this. It didn't make any sense.
Every high school student that's listening to this right now is like,
Yeah, challenge accepted.
Spark notes in auto summarize. Wonders.
Not approved. not an approved message.
Anyways, so how did we even get on that tangent?
well, I don't know, but I am interested in what Benji said.
Oh, honors classes are way easier, especially AP classes.
I want your
because
opinion on it.
so step one, the all of the teachers have the same degree. So the only way that you get selected for the classes, or at least this is how it worked in my school, was the better teachers got the better classes because they knew the subject, or quote unquote knew the subject. It was just they were better teachers.
I would get crucified because I wouldn't do any homework.
Oh, fair enough. Well, that so Tyler's saying honors classes were harder and then didn't do anything. No, they were easier. They were a lot easier.
They weren't hard.
that
Like
makes-
the
that
subject
makes
matter wasn't
good
harder.
sense.
It was just the fact of like I said, I would lose before I'd win because I'd
Fair.
be crucified for not doing the tedious work.
Fair.
I mean, when you think about that, I mean, that's
It's not really the class itself that was easier. It was the teachers had a better grasp of the concept and they could teach a lot better.
yeah.
There was one teacher that I had who was teaching us pre-calculus. Maybe it was calculus. I don't remember. It was calculus. We were doing calculus in high school, and he knew his stuff. He's super smart. He worked for a defense contractor out here as an engineer, and he was really, really smart, but he had no ability to bring it down at all. So he would just stare at us like we were like completely. Like,
Hold on. So by calculus, you mean pottery, right?
yeah. Yeah, we were making
I love our
vases.
class.
Yeah. What were we talking about? Oh, stop mind reading.
Yeah, that was a rabbit hole.
Fair enough.
What else is on this list?
All kinds of stuff. So point 1 was don't gossip.
24 other
Number
things.
2, set goals. We've talked about that on the show a lot.
Setting goals is important.
That should be the first one on the list.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take it up with whoever wrote this list.
I'll take it up with the internet.
Well,
The internet always loses.
tell the internet I'm looking for.
I'm gonna call the internet.
No, but setting goals. Go ahead, Benji.
No. Yeah, the idea that setting goals is important. You know, if you have no reason to strive, if you have nothing to strive towards, you have no reason to strive at all.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. If you don't know what you're going for, then where are you going?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to put this stuff down, and it's so important. It's one thing when you have your goals in your head, but it's I found it like so different when you actually put it down to paper. It becomes reality. You know, you have to bring those ideas into reality. Something as simple as writing them down brings it into this reality. Put it somewhere where you see it often. Make it your background on your phone. Like you could do all sorts of stuff where you could just see it all the time. And that trigger reminder is like, instead of keeping it in your head, and you're living life, and you're at work and you're doing all sorts of stuff, you forget about what it is. But if there's something you could look at every time you look at your phone, you see that reminder kind of thing. Now you're more apt to actually completing that goal. And so setting goals is huge. I think that's a great way to fight like negativity, because people in life are. What's the name of this list? I'm not looking at
Habits to Stop Negativity.
Okay, so habits to stop negativity. Like, other people will drive negativity in your life. So if you don't know what your goals are and don't continuously remind yourself of your goals, it's very easy to get consumed by negativity. Only you can keep yourself positive. Your goals and how you spend your day and how you wake up in the morning and how you end your day. These are all things that control the positivity in your life.
And some people don't even mean it. They have good intentions, but they'll speak negativity into the vision that you do have, because they can't see as far as you can.
Yeah.
I was gonna make a joke, and you were saying, like, write it all down on paper, and like that's how you score all the goals.
That's
Absolutely.
how you.
Talking about setting goals though, if you're really struggling to set goals and you don't have like large foresight or large vision, like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. Even for me, I started just by writing down what I need to accomplish within the day. I am a list guy.
Yeah.
Before you go to bed, dump everything out on a list. Be like, okay, tomorrow I need to do this, whether it's wake up, wash your truck, just like little things. And then from the morning, build more on the list. Then accomplish whatever you have to accomplish. At night, whatever didn't get accomplished rolls on to the next list.
To build off of what Eric said in passing the concept of setting a wall screen, a background for your phone. You have to remember that, like, how often we utilize our phones and how subconsciously we see something. It's very important. They did a study, and there was a direct correlation between some stuff, and I don't know the specific results of the study, but basically it was saying, like, it shows a lot about a person based off of what their phone background is. And you have to think of it, if you look at your phone X amount of times, you're going to see your lock screen every single time, or most of the times, and it's important to think like, oh, I'm looking at this thing this many times, this many interactions with this phone, and it's being imprinted subconsciously on you every single time you see it. So pick something worthwhile, or at least pick something that's not negative.
Like, for my laptop background, it's a picture of a studio that I'd love to have one day. It reminds me of that every time I look at it. It's the goal of where I want to go. It may not be the words or the actual goal, but it's a picture of a relevant thing that triggers it. Another thing about goals, I mean, if you haven't heard of it yet, it's something that I learned very early going into college and late high school was, creating SMART goals. And that at first was like corny. I was like, whatever, you have goals. But SMART goals is essentially just making it's an acronym. It stands for like specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. But I think it's super important to have specific goals that are time-based, especially if you can have it. And if it's a measurable goal, even better. When it comes, and this really helps with, like, if you're building your brand or stuff with anything like that, but making goals that are specific, not just having general, like, I want to be successful. It's not specific enough. You have to have a specific goal of what that means to you. I want to buy a house that's worth $250,000 by the time I'm 30. That's specific. That's time measurable now, and it's relevant and it's attainable. But you have a specific goal that you want to go with. Now you can break down that goal. Like, okay, if I want to buy this house by this age, then by 25 I need this. By 27 I need this. By 29 I need this. And you can break it down to smaller goals. But if you just have, like, I just want to be successful, how do you break that down? Where do you go from there?
And what is success?
And everyone's definition of success is different. And your definition of success will be different over time. My definition of success has changed since I was younger. Younger was just like, I want to be a millionaire. And now it's not. Money has nothing to do with my success anymore.
Nice.
And that your success will change. And if you don't have it written down and you don't have like anything specific, your route's going to change too. Your goals will change if you're not careful, and you have to it's okay to change your goals. It's important to remember that, like, goals aren't supposed to be set in stone. They're adjustable depending on where you're going. But if you don't know where they were to begin with, and you're just changing, and you never really checked up on your goals, where are you really going?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So you have to be careful.
My idea of success is scoring all the goals.
That is it. We should just use that as a clip. They'll hear it like 17 times throughout the show.
Score all of the goals. You got anything before you move?
No, we're good.
Next one, we are actually talking about this before the show, kind of. Number 3, take rest. And that really makes sense. We were talking about being hangry and how it's like that is a real problem.
Yeah.
But being hungry really forces you sometimes into making some bad decisions. I was talking about that's probably one of my main, I guess, character flaws, and I've come to realize that in my older age, in my wise old age of
Back in my day.
yeah,
Back
right.
in my day.
Thank you. But it's so true, and obviously you live with yourself, so you can sometimes pick up faster on these things. If I don't eat for extended periods of time, or sleep, not so much. You guys know I can roll on like little to no sleep, but if I don't eat, that's it. And eating is part of rest.
Yeah.
So having a clear mindset, being able to get a good at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep, depending on you and your personality, and really eating appropriately really helps you not be negative. I mean, that hangry moment, it's like, oh, I'm negative now because I'm hangry. That hunger is causing me to be bitter, grumpy, or like just cynical.
Yeah.
It's true.
And also knowing how different things affect you as a person. That's the getting rest is a very large topic, but knowing that we talked about the light bulbs where it's like certain things can be turned down and certain things need to be turned up. Like knowing what you turn up and how that affects you is very important. There's nothing wrong with training yourself to work off of a less amount of sleep or a smaller amount of sleep. It's just the problem becomes if that affects the rest of your relationship.
Same shadow. Instead of light bulbs, though, and knowing the right combination of light bulbs, you can talk about cooking, too, and having a little bit more salt, a little bit less salt, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I mean, you can make awesome chicken and know how to make chicken, but if you have too much of one ingredient, if you put too much salt, it gets a little salty. So you got to dial back your salt. You see what I did there?
You
got to be a little less salty.
You gotta be a little less salty in life.
Good job, Tyler. We talk about this system in software engineering called the black box. The idea that sometimes you have to reverse engineer something, and you know what you put in and you know what you get out. You don't know the content of the machine, but you start adjusting what you put in to observe what comes out of it. And that's what we have to do with ourselves. We can adjust what we put into our bodies. We can adjust how we interact with other people. We can adjust the factors in our life that we can adjust, and then stuff comes out. The quality of life comes out. And as we go through life, we tweak little things, and the quality of life goes up and down.
Yeah.
And the goal is to maximize it as often as possible.
And getting rest is you said Tyler shared something, and I watched the video, and he said, yeah, we're really running.
No, it's all right. Just finish the thought.
So you said you shared something, and I watched the video, and he was saying that companies, fast food companies that work 7 days a week, they make $1 million. Chick-fil-A takes that one day off that they don't open on Sunday, so they're working 6 days a week, and they generate $5 billion a year. So why? Well, you take that extra time. You take that time to rest, and you make that a priority in your life. It's so easy to get overconsumed with responsibilities, duties, and everything else, and trying to stay busy that I have to schedule rest time into my schedule, and I want to change that. I want to have just a set day. I haven't gotten there yet, but I have to schedule my rest time, or else I don't rest. So and then I get burnt out, and eventually I don't perform as well as I could have.
It's the same as the shadow that Benjamin and I talk about, where it's the same thing with wealth. The harder you try to grasp it, it's like grasping sand. The faster it falls out of your hands.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh well, I need to be more productive, so I'm just not going to sleep, and it's like you still lose.
Yeah,
you still
probably lose more if you're tired. But yeah, we're going to talk more about this negativity list, and I don't know how many bullet points we have left, but I feel like we're not making good progress. We have 26.
No,
we have 23.
There you go.
23 left to go with 15 minutes. We're going to speed run it. We'll be back. Stay tuned.
Probably makes bank too.
Yeah, no, they probably don't, to be completely honest with you. So yeah, well, they're no longer SATA. They're Air Assurge now. Air Assurge.
Oh, they changed it officially?
Well, the tax reasons, of course.
Yeah, fair enough.
Every once in a while, you gotta go bankrupt and start a new company.
Hey, you haven't succeeded unless you got bankrupt.
Yeah, you haven't succeeded in corporate America unless you've gone bankrupt a couple times for tax reasons.
Don't hate the play, hate the game.
Absolutely. What? You mean it's not illegal for me to make a smaller corporation? unload all of my debt to that smaller corporation and then bankrupt that smaller corporation.
Hey, you gotta know how to play the game. If you can use the system to your advantage, why not use it?
Absolutely.
Or we were talking
The
about
game is meant to be played. Yeah.
we were talking about cash flow and actually showing and turning profits. Like there are places to be able to put your money, so it shows that you're not really like turning profit, even if you're turning profit, so that you can
There's
so
also
you can get your breaks and benefits.
There's also loopholes where it's like you don't get hit until you take it out. So what people do is they just keep it all in, like keep money in the stock market. You don't get hit with taxes until you take it out.
Yeah.
Or like a capital gains tax until you take it out. So what do people do? They just put it in, and I'm not an economics major, so if I'm getting this wrong, I'm sure that there's like
someone's listening right now. Just
they're like
furious.
it's not right. It's like no, but like you keep the parts that are gaining money in, and you take the parts that have lost, quote unquote, lost money out. So you never really gained any money, even though your net worth keeps climbing.
The accounting process that really blew my mind was like Hollywood accounting and what they used to do for like the film industry.
Yep.
Casting couch.
What?
No.
Continue what you were saying. Come on,
I don't even know what's going on.
Okay.
But that kind of blew my mind. I don't really want to get into it because that's like a whole other thing. But look into it, Hollywood accounting, and you'll be mind blown at the stuff that people used to get away with when it came to numbers.
Someone said at one time, I heard, I don't remember who it was. It's like if a movie in Hollywood makes money, somebody did something wrong.
Yeah. That's really exactly what it is, and it blows my mind how for how long they got away with that. Mm-hmm. Like there are still actors from like the 90s and the 80s that still haven't gotten paid because they signed it on the contract of like, oh, you'll get 2% of the profit, but at the bottom line they had zero profit.
Absolutely, and it's also like
wrong. I'm laughing, but it's so wrong.
The corporation that makes the movie should receive $0 in the end. It's like everybody gets paid exuberant amounts of money. They make $300 million at the box office. Yes. But that goes to the production company, that goes to the director, that they own. The actors that are signed contracts with that. It's like the corporation made $0 or went negative.
Yeah.
Everybody got paid.
Everybody got paid. Most of them got paid.
Yeah.
And it's like, it blows my mind. It's definitely a little bit more like, I wouldn't say it's different as far as like they still try to get as close to zero as possible. That's what every corporation does for tax purposes. Yeah. But now at least the actors and stuff are a little bit. Now they got lawyers that really they've like Arnold Schwarzenegger is getting paid.
Yeah. If you can lose money without losing money, that's corporate America.
Yeah, that's it. Make it look like you have $0.
Yeah.
You got millions stashed up behind you, but they can't see it.
Make it look like you're going bankrupt. Yeah, everything. Yeah, absolutely. Everything under the mattress. All cash money. What are we talking about?
Talk about that cash money.
Cash money. Economics.
Hashtag cash flow.
Hashtag cash flow.
That's the name of this. That's the name of this podcast.
It just has. Back to the negativity list.
All right, so ripping through. Number 1 was don't gossip. Great. Number 2, set goals. Number 3 and 4 we kind of lumped together. Take rest, eat healthy. Number 5, exercise daily.
Eat healthy was a thing.
Yeah, actually it was. I wasn't reading with foresight.
Well, there you go. You were mind reading.
So there we go. You get hangry. Actually, just eat food.
Yeah.
Exercise daily. Exercising releases endorphins. I don't want to go into exercise because I feel personally attacked right now.
Tyler's like, everybody has to live their life to the max. I don't want to go to the gym.
Workout, as Tyler said, I feel like maybe 1 or 2 episodes ago, don't pay Planet Fitness.
I was the one who said that. Yeah. I was like, don't buy the subscription. If you're that motivated to go to the gym, go run around for a while. See how motivated you are after that. Take those $20 a month, put it in a savings account, and then buy yourself a cup of coffee at the end of the week or whatever. I don't know.
That's it. Steak dinner at the end of the month. Anyways, so exercise daily. I don't think we're really in,
we're not the best people to advise there, but
we're just as qualified as the rest of the internet. Come on.
Yeah, right. We don't have cameras on us. We can lie about it.
Yeah, I'm a bodybuilder. Yeah.
Come on, we got to be real, Eric. Please. Number 6, get things done. That is an irrelevant
get things done. That's it, man. That's it right there.
As simple as that does sound. That is a good idea. Like if you have to get something done, even if it's not the best outcome you possibly could have achieved. Like we talked about the idea of fold a pair of socks. Mm-hmm. If that's your level that you're at, do that thing. And if you're not at that level, scale it up with you. Like if you're doing 40 projects a month, do a project today, get one project done.
Yeah.
Or if you have no motivation to do anything and you can't fold your socks, fold a pair of socks today.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Go ahead.
No.
I was gonna say accomplishments, like accomplishing anything. It's a reward system for you. It releases dopamine in your mind, so it's a very rewarding satisfaction that you get when you accomplish something. Especially if that was like on your to-do list today. Like I needed to fold my laundry today.
Yep.
And you get it done, you feel better. Period.
Absolutely. So getting things done. We were talking about in the place in which the studio is right now. We're just doing things behind the scenes. Like I'm starting a whole demo thing of a complete show. Whether it gets used or not, I'm still getting things done.
Yeah. We're throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. And it's important to realize that just because certain things won't see the light of day, because out of all of the stuff that we're working on, something eventually will not make it to you guys. But it's important for us as a group of individuals to try stuff to see what is going to eventually become a final product.
Yeah.
Or it might even take a couple drafts of something just because it didn't stick on the first episode or the third episode. I mean, it really took us about 6 episodes here to get rolling and be like, okay, well, we're comfortable in our own skin. Sometimes you just have to get things done.
Yeah.
And I mean, if it's done, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's always perfect or well done.
Yeah.
But it was done, and it's like, okay, well, I did it. Maybe I can do it again.
Yeah, well, we talk about the proof of concept. We talked about that a couple episodes ago. That's like a major thing. Do something once. If you have a project outline, do a very basic sketch, a very basic outline, get the whole thing planned out, and then start refining each individual module that makes up the whole.
Yeah.
That's it. Actually, I develop a lot of concepts like that, and that's a way that I work. Like I'm a guy. I write like 3, 4, 5 drafts. It takes me a lot of voluntad. It takes me a lot of will to be able to just put together a cohesive piece, whether I like it or not. I write it first. Talking about putting together like a message or something. I write a whole message, and then I go back and I redo it again, and I hand write it all. And then it's like, okay, well, I refine this part here. I develop this a little bit more. I tweak this here. And sometimes it's just getting it done for the first time, so that I can see it as a roadmap. I can refine it and actually make a good finished product.
I'm going to quote Michael Todd on this one. He says it perfectly. It's like, it's not about perfection. It's about progression. And that's huge. And that really, like, you have to change your mindset.
Progression, G, E minor, D, C.
There we go.
Repeat.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's the money
music.
progression.
Okay.
That's the money progression?
I guess so. Or like G, D, E minor, C. That's all you need in life.
Oh, shoot.
Wow.
That's it.
So there you go. That's
all
your
you
next
need.
hit, according to pop radio.
According to pop radio,
Unless you want to
do
do it in the key of C, then it would be C, G,
I love the
A
key of
minor,
C.
F.
At Taylor Swift.
At Taylor Swift. Holla at me. Anyways, let's just keep moving. Getting things done was number 6. Number 7, make a to-do list. I feel like that's really redundant in conjunction to number 2 as setting goals.
I mean, yeah, well, yes.
What's number 1?
Number 1 was don't gossip.
They put that before goals? Okay.
Yeah, and this is things to stop negativity. I know we're ripping apart the internet right now, but I mean,
fine.
I hope
We
the
also
person who
don't need
made
to get
this
through
is-
this whole list.
We
today.
probably, yeah. I mean,
all right, so you want to stop and just talk about something?
Yeah, we're just going to stop right here. That's
keep,
it.
keep
No.
throwing stuff up. And
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
All right, make a to-do list. Number 8, stop multitasking.
I don't think that's necessarily a good
I'm
concept.
glad that you chimed in because I felt the same way. I was like, no, I don't think that's necessarily true for everybody.
When I think of just this podcast, I think of the things that I do in the background while this is rendering. You know, like you can run multiple different things at the same time. Like I run rendering this podcast for the YouTube channel and editing it and sending it in. Like when I do like the publishing of this podcast, I submit it on like 3 different platforms at the same time. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like being able to work, this is an example, being able to work and do multiple different things at the same time is an important skill to have.
yeah. I don't think that multitasking is a real skill. I think it's more of in our minds. But for the sake of negativity, it might become overwhelming when you do too much at once. It's I think it's one of those ideas of just do one thing.
It's probably instead of stop multitasking, limit your multitasking.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to allow myself to only do 2 to 3 things at one time.
Yeah.
rather than 4, 5, 6, 7 and never see anything accomplished because I have all these loose ends that are started that never end up getting buttoned up.
Yes. Yeah. That's the problem. I don't think the problem is multitasking to completion. It's multitasking and then like, oh, a squirrel. Yeah. Like that. Yeah. That's the problem.
That is the problem. And I mean, kudos to this great list. They should have reworded that. But hey, good.
Yeah, this is wonderful. Thank you, internet. I think that might be. We should probably have some segments like find things on the internet and just like rip them apart.
Fair enough.
I think those will make great podcasts.
Yeah, this is fun.
Number 9, express yourself. That's
express
huge.
Yourself.
That's it.
I was thinking of that, but I didn't know how it went.
Go ahead.
So to combat negativity, express yourself.
We got 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have.
I think that the important part of that is not necessarily, well, expressing yourself is a way to become comfortable with yourself.
I think there was express yourself artistically, I guess, maybe.
From an artistic standpoint, in my mind, just as myself, to get away from negativity, sometimes you have to express negativity through creation, to be able to release it. I wrote songs for a long time out of a place of negativity and anger and depression, and that's where I could write, and it was that release for me to get that out so that I could function in the rest of my life. And that's I mean that there's a place for that.
Absolutely, the good and the bad end up in the song, right?
That's hey, some of the best art is made out of pain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, let's keep moving. So we still got 5 more minutes. Number 10, make the effort. Anybody?
Yeah, just actually, like, there's so many people who, we talked about this on another show, where it's all like, I'm going to do this thing. And then they just wait the rest of their lives, and then they're like, this thing never happened. Why didn't it happen? And it's like, did you actively try to do anything?
Well, you're saying do this thing, moving into the next vague topic, number 11. Do this regularly.
Fair enough.
Hey, but do the thing regularly.
Yeah, absolutely. Do something and then do it regularly.
Medium regular, cream no sugar.
But that's true too, where it's like being productive is not a one-time thing. It's as vague as that sounds, it does make sense. It's like, be productive. Okay, I was productive one time. Now do it regularly.
I have a tip. Don't read this list if you're in a negative mind space, because it won't click with anything. But
it's one of those positivity for positive people.
Yeah. What do you mean you're depressed? Just stop.
Just do better, guy.
But making the effort is important. You have to just start doing something. Benji, you mentioned something important. Like, you've been saying that you wanted to do this one thing for the last 2 years now, and you still haven't started. That's huge. You have to just start somewhere. Make the effort and start. Just like Shia LaBeouf said it best. Just do it.
Oh yeah. I was like, what? Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Nike said that.
Just do it.
Yeah, Nike did.
In front of a green screen, no less.
He did it all. Like, he was just like, make me a meme.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Put me in front of anything. I got you.
Anyway, so moving forward now, we talked about this in an earlier show too, and this is really good. 12 and 13, say thank you and stop complaining.
Yeah. Thank you is very important.
Yeah, it's really being grateful and moving yourself to a heart of gratitude really gets you out of a place of negativity. Instead of that complaining and, this is bad, focusing on the negative, find whatever it can be positive. I don't care how overwhelming the negative might be, and it's true, and it's really hard, especially if those are the neural pathways you've been building is negative. Like we were saying I think it was a soundbite even, like, hey, but you got some nice teeth.
Oh, yeah.
But that's legit. It's like, if you can't find anything nice to say or good to say, like, about your boss, that was a really good one. It's like, well, things to be thankful for a really bad boss. Hey, at least he woke up today because this is his company. He opened the doors so that I could have a job, so I could get paid.
Yeah.
Or, like, I'm thankful that whatever, there's paper in the copy machine, or there's small little things, and rewiring your brain to look at situations and saying, okay, well, happiness is only a place of perspective. To shoot for that place, that is really clutch to combat negativity.
Or being thankful that 1/5 of your country isn't currently doing a peaceful protest against the government. Like, that's a good one to be thankful for.
Yeah. Like, there's so much stuff that you have to rewire yourself to start looking at the positivity in life. A lot of people say, and this is where it gets like a little tricky, because a lot of people are like, oh, it's who I am. I'm negative. I was born this way.
Yeah. And
that's where it gets a little tricky, because it's like, you have the power to change that, but whoever is in that negative mindset who believes like, I was born this way, this is just who I am, it's really hard to change, but it all starts with you.
We want to tell you the truth so that I can set you free, that you weren't born, and even if that's been your pattern of life, your entire life, you weren't born that way, and you can change.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You are a product of your environment.
Yeah, and it's like that's like a crutch sometimes, where it's like, and that's a crutch for a lot of things, where it's like I don't really want to change, so I'm just gonna use this as the excuse, as like a facade to say that I'm not going to do this thing. And we do that a lot in a bunch of different things. You can apply that to whatever. It's all like, oh, I've always looked this way, so I'm not going to change. Like, I can go to the gym all I want and I'm never going to change. It's like, that's not necessarily true. Like, there are reasons why we do things, and there are ways to fix whatever issues that we have. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, but it can be achieved.
Right.
Effort.
So let's send the show off. Those last 2 points are really important. Say thank you and stop complaining.
Yeah.
And then we gird up our loins and we get to it today. So have a wonderful day, and we will see you next podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Life Podcast Show. We really appreciate all your support. We meet every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning just to talk and share our perspectives on everyday life situations. If you haven't already, please share this with your friends and give them a chance to join the conversation. Also, if you liked what you heard today, rate our podcast. The higher the rating, the longer we can keep this going. And a special thanks to our future sponsors that will soon partner with us on this journey. If anyone would like to contact us, please email us at thelifepodcastshow@gmail.com. One word. That's thelifepodcastshow@gmail.com. Be blessed and have a wonderful day.